Joel Gardner's family is overjoyed when he finally gets a full-time job as a middle school band teacher. However, this does mean he'll have to give up his dream of becoming an accomplished jazz pianist. However, Joel decides to take one last chance and leaps when a position opens up with accomplished saxophonist Dorothea Williams. He nails the audition, however in his exuberance he winds up falling into an open manhole cover. The next thing he knows, Joe is dead. In denial over his circumstance, Joel tries to escape the path to the great beyond and soon finds himself in the great before, or as it's now known, the youth seminar. There he's assigned to mentor a soul known as only as 22 and try to help the young being find its purpose, its spark, if you will, to get ready to live. Along the way, Joe may himself discover that one's destiny and one's purpose are not always intertwined. This is Soul. Okay, that was a bit of a mouthful there, sorry. Try not to recite this whole plot, but it's kind of hard because I'm going to wind up maybe reciting the whole... Well, I'll try to avoid a lot of the big spoilers, but yeah. Basically, like I said, a lot of it has to do with like kind of a mixed identity circumstances. Joel was not supposed to go off the great path, but when he arrives, they basically say, oh yeah, here, you must be this mentor person, here. And they give him the wrong name, and they assume that he's a child psychologist named Bjorn Bjorkstead. And he gets 22. You may hear me refer to 22 as a girl sometimes. You know, technically she has not been assigned a gender at birth, so... Yeah, I mean, she's voiced by Tina Fey, so that's kind of where everyone's kind of calling her... Even they call her girl during this, so I'm just going to run with that. Anyway, 22 has struggled because she's had a lot of, great people like Abe Lincoln, Mother Teresa, like I said, Carl Jung, George Orwell, Archimedes, and they've all just failed in allowing her to find her purpose, and that's because she's sort of gotten a view of what it's like on Earth, and she doesn't seem to find it very interesting or that she really wants to go there. In fact, she seems to be more content just to be where she's at. However, she has some friends, like it turns out a lot of people... There's the zone, like when an athlete hits every rail, or someone's playing the right chords all the time, they're doing everything right and everything seems to go that way. You enter the zone, and in the zone sometimes people can, sometimes even through meditation they get into the zone, and you have to be careful because you get too lost in the zone, you can wind up becoming a lost soul and you're just buried in your work. And so there's this group called the Outboard, I forget what they're called, yeah. They're led by a guy named Moonwind. They're all these very kind of hippie, transcendental types. And what they do is they find the lost souls and help them try to regain their purpose and focus so that they can return back to their bodies and, maybe not give up the grind. I mean, they even say it's a lot of hedge fund managers and people like that. So it's like, they find one, they get it back to its original host, and it's like, I'm free, I'm quit, and he runs off. So, he's at like the stock market. And... 22 is kind of happy there, but they sort of discern that maybe they could use this as a way to get Joel can get back to his body through this. Because the whole time he's not actually dead, he's just in a coma. But I mean, he's scheduled to die. In fact, another, with the Great Beyond, the people who run the youth seminar are all Jerrys, and then there's Terrys who are the people in charge of the Great Beyond. And there's like this one Terry who's a real neurotic accountant type who realizes there's the soul missing and is out trying to find it and get it back to the Great Beyond, which is where it belongs. And so as they're trying to get back, Joel accidentally bumps into 22 and pulls her down with him, and they wind up switched around. He's trapped in the therapy cat that was sitting on his lap, and she's trapped in his body. And so they're trying to get to this new meeting ground so they can perform this ritual to get everything switched back. And all the while they unknowingly have to avoid Terry, who's kind of stalking them to get them back into the right spots. And along the way, this is where the notes get weird. 22 in Joel's body begins... I say Joel a lot, sorry. It's Joe. I don't know if it's just my noise or something. Anyway, 22 in Joe's body kind of begins to discover a lot of the joys of life. pizza and donuts and getting a haircut and talking with the barber, and even interacting with Joe's mother, who's very approving of the whole jazz musician thing. And he's saying, but I want my chance to prove that I could actually amount to something. And it's sort of this, whole experience. And so you begin wondering, has 22 found a purpose? I think it's easy to jump to that conclusion. So yeah, you begin sort of seeing how everything comes together. If I do have any qualms with the movie, is that I don't think the overarching threat of the Terry who's looking for them is really that much of a threat. Like, it's even sort of played for laughs at some points. Like, at one point he spots them and he sets up the trap, but he inadvertently catches someone else, and the poor guy is just like, oh no, as he was like, briefly dead for 30 seconds. Oops. And so you're getting that. But yeah, other than that, the threat's just not really looming enough to be thought of as a threat. I would also say there are some times where it feels like it's a bit of spinning of the wheels, where it's like, okay, we kind of get it now. Can we get to this point where we start settling things and move it along? And I will admit, without giving too much away to the ending, it does feel like a little bit of a cop-out at the end. I won't get too much into it, but yeah, there's kind of a really okay. I mean, it's not a bad ending, but it's okay. But yeah, again, without trying to give away too much in the end there. So yeah, it's not a great ending, though. I think it could have been a little better, or maybe it had been fine if they just cut a few minutes off of it. I don't think they needed to do what they did there. So yeah, I mean, overall, Soul is still very enjoyable. I'm going to be giving it a B. It's really solid. It's a good time. So you're not going to, it's not earth-shattering, but it's still really good. Some top-notch animation. It does kind of go into some good philosophical questions and the nature of existence. So I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of good jazz music throughout it. So it's really solid. It's just, it does kind of go off the rails at a couple points. Okay, so this is pretty much the last review for 2020. Thank goodness. I thought about doing a best worst list this year, but this whole year, it just didn't quite feel right because I was reviewing so much streaming stuff and just, So, yeah, I hope you don't mind if I just skip those. The next movie, TV review is probably going to be WandaVision. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do the whole big split. I don't know if I'll do I don't think I'm going to do week by week. It just seems a little too, that would be a little too forced. But I think what I'll do is, I'll do something with it. Okay, you'll probably get a pilot review and again the whole series review when that concludes. There's not really anything else coming out though, unfortunately, just at least none that's piquing my interest. I know Wonder Woman 1984 is out there, and yes, I know HBO Max is now on Roku, but I can't afford HBO Max, and I'm not willing to go to a theater right now, so it's just not really an option, unfortunately. So, yeah, there will probably be a couple more videos. I've been trying to get the Madden thing done because I should. I'll do probably a little fill-in update on that eventually, and then we'll do something with that too. So even some more humor with some other video games I got maybe. So maybe that'll do. Sorry, my phone went off. So maybe that'll lead to something. There'll still be plenty of content, but right now I would say for certain the next video after this that's coming up is the random trade review on Damage Control. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.